Yo, what up, what up? See, man, Big Brandon Carter. The word legend gets thrown around a lot. But when it comes to the advancement and research of the ketogenic diet, Jimmy Moore epitomizes the phrase. You see, Jimmy Moore got into the ketogenic diet. He was grossly overweight, and he used that to lose almost 200 pounds in rapid time. Since then, he has written tons of best-selling books on the subject. He has the #1 ketogenic podcast on iTunes. And more importantly, he's helped literally thousands of people use the ketogenic diet to lose weight, improve their health, and their overall quality of life. When I first started doing keto, his work was something that I looked towards for inspiration. So it is my honor to present to you this interview I did recently with Jimmy Moore. We cover every topic we can think of. We go into depth on it. If you have any questions about keto, this video will answer all your questions and any concerns you may have. Is keto for you? Is it the right thing? Should you try it? How do you try it? Me and Jimmy are gonna break the whole thing down for you. And if you want some more help with it, I also have some free information. Click the link below. I have some free information on how you can implement the ketogenic diet. You don't wanna miss out on that. But without any further ado, I am honored to present to you my interview with the homie, my friend, Jimmy Moore. Yo, what's going on? It's your man, Big Brandon Carter. I'm here with a very special guest, my friend, and we met a few years ago, and he's one of the pioneers of the whole ketogenic diet movement. He's been on it for years. He lost 400 pounds doing the ketogenic diet. He has a number of best-selling books, which include Keto Clarity, Cholesterol Clarity, and he has one of the most popular keto podcasts or low carb podcasts on iTunes. My man, Jimmy Moore. What's going on, brother?
What up, BC? But if I lost 400 pounds, I'd be 10 pounds today. So let's go with 180.
180. Hey, man, I make mistakes.
I was a big boy. I'm still a big boy, but not as big as I once was.
Yeah, man. Congrats. Yo, so listen, and you use the ketogenic diet to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, it started off with the Atkins diet. My mother-in-law, God bless her, gave me a diet book for Christmas. Yeah, gee, thanks, Mom. I know I'm fat. So I read the book, and it changed my life, you know, and I give her a hug every time I see her now because it's like that sparked the interest in me, and then I took it from there, me and God.
But there's a big difference between Atkins and keto.
Oh, my goodness. See, this is the thing. People say, well, what's the difference? And I'm like, it's pretty subtle because both of them call for lowering your carbs. But the big difference is when you go keto, sometimes excess protein, unless you're a mad workout fiend like you, excess protein can be a problem. Yeah. And so you have to moderate down on the protein just a bit and then eat a little more fat. And then that's the magic to making your body produce ketones and be in that fat burning mode.
Yeah. So it's a big difference, right? Like I've tried like more Atkins diets or just low carbs diet, and I didn't feel as good as when I do keto. When I do keto, I feel like great. Like, I mean, after you get past that adaptation period, but now I feel amazing. Let me tell you what happened, Jimmy. Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure.
So we talked a few years ago about keto, and I was just like, I'm good. I just keep my calories low, right? When I want to cut, and that worked well for me.
Yeah.
For a while, until I went to the doctor, right? And I was just a checkup for insurance. And then he said that like my cholesterol was sky high. And then I was like, oh man, that's crazy. He wanted me to get on cholesterol drugs. And I thought, nah, man, because I know the side effects of these cholesterol drugs, the statins, memory loss.
Brutal on the muscles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely catabolic. They lower your testosterone. It just seemed like it was something I wanted to do. So I started researching natural remedies, right? And then I remembered our conversation about keto, all right? And then I went back
and I went and got your book, Cholesterol Clarity. Then I went and then read, just read a number of other books about it. And I said, well, let me give it a shot. What I got to lose, what do I got to lose? And within 1 month of being on keto, my cholesterol dropped 100 points.
Wow.
I want to thank you for that, man.
Was it all in the LDL, Brandon?
It was, the LDL dropped more. The HDL actually went up.
I was going to say, because generally HDL will go up because you're eating healthy fats, and that's the best way to raise your HDL. There's no drug that will raise your HDL better than butter.
Yeah. And it's like, and I've had follow-up checkups, and my blood levels have come back immaculate. Everything's fine. And my doctor couldn't believe that it happened so fast, and I've been 100% keto ever since.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And I've been preaching the gospel. But here's the thing, Jimmy. Here's the thing. When you start talking about, I didn't know this was going to happen, Jimmy. When you start talking about keto, people, the crazies come out.
They lose their mind, man.
They can't take it. It's
not just the vegans. It's not the vegans.
It's not just
they're
the vegans,
out there
man.
too, but it's everybody going cray-cray.
Man, cray. They can't handle it, man. They can't handle it. They don't know what to do. So
they need keto is what it is. Their
what
brains
they need,
are so
man.
mixed up. They need more fat, man.
Their brains are going crazy. Listen, Jimmy, can we clear up some of the misconceptions that people have about keto?
Yeah, what you got for me? What's the big ones?
One, everyone says it's going to kill me. It's like the high fat is going to kill me.
So this goes back to the 1950s, long before you and I were even a thought on this world. My mom and dad were barely born. There was this guy named Ansel Keys who did this study, and he actually had about 31 different points of different countries that they ate saturated fat, and they had this outcome. They had less saturated fat and this outcome with their heart health, but he didn't like that it was all over the board. He was trying to prove that saturated fat was a problem. And so he uses 7 countries that prove his point, and he gets it published. Well, once a research paper gets published, then it starts trickling down to the medical field. Then the medical field starts talking to congressmen. And then in the 1970s, that's when we have the McGovern Commission. Oh, we need to start doing dietary guidelines. I love that water bottle, by the way. I use my Yeti, but you got me killed today, man.
Hey, the Yeti goes, I have a Yeti too. I
love this.
This is like, I'm a douchebag, bro. And, this is kind of like our calling card. You know what I'm saying? It's how you can spot one of us.
Absolutely. So then in the 1980s, you got the dietary guidelines in place, and then the whole low-fat mantra is set. And so that's why people, even today, when you hear high-fat diet, low-carb, high-fat diet, they're still shuddering because they're still feeling the reverberations of, quite frankly, what started off as a lie, and yet the lie still continues to this day.
The lie persists, man. The lie persists. And you know what? It's like, now here's the thing. I want to be clear. Like, you can use, like, any diet that gets you can lose weight on, right?
Yeah, weight loss.
I've
cut
tried
your
almost
leg off and lose weight.
Yeah, man, you can cut your leg off. And I've been a trainer for I've been a personal trainer for over 16 years, right? And so I've pretty much been through every protocol you can think of. And I feel the best dieting on keto.
Do you know why you do?
I have I have a few hypotheses.
Shoot, let's hear.
Okay, for me, it's one, when your body's producing ketones, they actually they suppress hunger, right? So it doesn't feel like I'm just not as hungry, right? Some people's, Jimmy, I hear all the time, some of these guys say that, man, when people do keto, it's just they accidentally go on a deficit, and that's the only reason they lose weight. And I'm like, if that is true, isn't that a feature?
A good thing.
That's a feature, not a flaw.
Yeah, one of the things that I often hear people, they go on this and their brain just is suddenly clear. And they're just like, I used to be kind of moody. And I was one of those kind of people. My wife, Christine, will tell you, Brandon, I was kind of a pain in the ass back in the day when I do a low fat, high carb diet. And then I start eating fat, eating keto, and the brain, the mood just stabilizes. And that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Especially with all these crazies out there shooting people up and all this stuff, like what happened in Las Vegas. It's like, eat more fat, people.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
Yeah, man. No. It's like, there's a lot of studies that I've found since I've dug deep into this over the last year or so, man. And like, a lot of studies show that ketones are actually healthy for the brain. And the main reason I like to be on it, above all, is it makes me more productive. I get more work done, which in turn helps me make more money, you know, and I can do more things that I want to do. Like I'm just a lot, like I live in New York, and a lot of like guys I know, like Wall Street guys, right? They're big on this, right? Because they're, you know, these guys are trying to get every little edge they can get, right?
Silicon Valley's the same way.
Yeah, Silicon. I have some friends in the tech world too who are like on it. Like those guys are probably the biggest keto fans you'll
find.
They're
not just keto, they're fasting. They're like going days without eating to get some of the euphoric effects of the ketones.
Yeah, just get some of those, just get that edge, man. They just want that edge, you know.
So you mentioned earlier that you felt better, Brandon, since you've gone keto. Another thing that we know very well about a ketogenic diet is it's anti-inflammatory. And so when you lower that systemic inflammation, like dramatically, all those little kind of aches and pains and things that you didn't really pay attention to, but now they're gone and you're like, holy crap, I feel good. I feel optimal. That's a big reason why people do well on ketosis.
Yo, I definitely feel that, you know, especially me, man, I've been training for a long time. I had little aches and stuff.
Yeah, you got inflammation going when you're working out. So
yeah, it's anti-inflammatory.
And you recover faster. That's the other thing too.
Oh, yo, listen, man, I don't really get sore, but you know what? I'm not a good case study because I've been training so long. I don't really get sore.
You're a beast now.
Yeah, I'm a beast, man. Compare regular people.
Your videos, you're a beast, man.
Jimmy, hey, Jimmy, I appreciate that. Listen, but it also made my skin clear. That was another thing I noticed. My skin got dramatically clearer.
And you know why that happens, right?
Why is that?
Because insulin goes down, and when you have breakouts and when you have skin tags, some of those things, or you have anything that pops up on the skin, that's an immune response. And so to excess insulin. So if you lower the insulin, vis-a-vis a ketogenic diet does lower insulin, it's not surprising that your skin will get clearer. And you're still pretty young. Even as you get older, you'll notice that some of the things that people usually say as aging spots start to happen, they don't happen when you're eating a low insulin diet.
I'm not that young, Jimmy. I'm 35.
That's young.
And I'm in, but I honestly like.
But you do look a lot younger than 35.
Hey, thank
and
you,
I knew you were 35.
I really think, man, like people have been telling me that, like, people have been saying, "Hey, Brandon, you look like you're in the best shape of your life." Right?
Yeah.
I would agree, man. And this is when like basketball players retire or football players would have been way gone. I feel like I'm stronger and more athletic. Can we talk about that? Like a lot of people tell me you can't build muscle on ketogenic diet. And I thought that too. So when I first started doing, I did more of a cyclical ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
And I had some success with that. But on the carb days, I didn't feel so great. You know, I did like the carb days, I got tired. And
what did you eat on the carb days? I'm just curious. Crap.
Okay. The protocol was to only get like a certain amount of carbs.
That's right.
But I just went crazy.
You went crazy.
I was like I was waiting for it, you know. And I didn't feel so good on those days. And then when I was like you, Jimmy. I was like almost the whole first year I tested my ketone levels morning and night to really learn myself. And it would take me like a day or two to get back into ketosis. I talked to my buddy, Jason Whitrock. And so we were talking, he gave me some tips to get back into ketosis faster. So then I could get it into like 24 hours, you know. But now I just said, fuck that, man. I just want to stay in. I just do strict keto every day, 7 days a week.
It's like cycling, getting off of smoking. Why would you have a smoke once a week when you're trying to get rid of them? It just kind of keeps that urge and that craving, and you never really get over the craving. So I'm sure you've seen that.
Yeah, and I think that's another good tip. That's another good thing we can talk about craving. I don't have like crazy cravings. Like a lot of people say they don't want to they don't even try keto because they love rice or they love these other, you know, the pastas or whatever it is, cakes, candies or whatever, you know.
You know, we just found out from a new study. I just talked about this on my Thursday podcast called Keto Talk. There's actually a new sixth sense, kind of a taste bud sense, and it's starch. So you can actually taste starch, even if they like give you the enzymes to kind of downplay any sugary effect from it. You still taste that starch taste. So that's why people love their bread. They love their pasta. They love their rice, because your taste buds know what a carb tastes like. See, and that's why you crave it.
I don't have those cravings anymore.
Not anymore.
I don't have those cravings anymore. And So I've been bulking.
Now bacon, I got that craving.
No, I can go for some bacon. You know, like my taste buds changed. Like I actually like different foods now. Like I really like sardines, man. It's the strangest things, man.
I still don't like sardines. I know they're good for you, but I still can't do it. But things like green leafy vegetables I thought were so bitter before, and now I eat them like they're going out of style.
Yeah.
With plenty of fat, of course.
Right. Of course. Of course.
That's the only way.
Do you count calories, Jimmy?
I do not. And part of that is in my book, Keto Clarity, I talked about you keep your carbs low to your tolerance level, which for me, I'm a former 400-pound guy. It's pretty low, my tolerance. So probably around 30 total grams of carbs for me, which is pretty hardcore.
Total or net?
Total. And I'll get to that in a minute. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then you moderate the protein to your threshold level. And so if you're very sensitive to carbs, you're also probably very sensitive to the glucose effects of protein, and we can definitely talk about that as well.
Yes,
and then the rest of the calories come from fat to satiety. So everybody's like, wow, what do you eat, sticks of butter? And I'm like, no, that's not how you get fat in. You just eat it within the normal discourse of your meals. And your body is incredibly designed to tell you when you've had enough. And of course, once you become keto adapted, that kicks in automatically, and you end up naturally lowering your calories without even thinking about it.
Yo, that's exactly. Like you kind of eat, you eat to your satisfied almost. You don't overeat, and then you'll naturally just lose, even if you don't count calories.
In Asian countries, they actually teach their children eat to 80%. So there's this kind of mythical in their head. Okay, I'm not quite stuffed, but I'm pretty full, and so they kind of like eat to this 80% rule. And it's a pretty good kind of mode to think about when you're eating.
Yo, see, like, so I actually track my calories because I'm a spaz, right? So I walk around with a scale in I keep a scale with me. I take it to restaurants, you know, because I'm trying to get the edge, man.
You're Brandon freaking Carter. That's why you do it.
And I'm a spaz, and it's difficult to bulk. It's like so I started putting on muscle, like I'm trying to be in a surplus, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get like 36 to 4,000 calories all keto every day. And it's just difficult. I'm not hungry enough to do it. But when I was eating carbs, that was easy. I would have to like
you're probably still hungry.
Yeah, like it was hard to not go over that.
Yes.
You know, and because carbs make you hungry, right? They're addictive.
Yeah. Inherently they're addictive. And I would say the grains and the sugars especially are addictive. I mean, if you throw a sweet potato in there, you're probably not going to get quite the same reaction if you had a piece of bread or potato chips or French fries or whatever your favorite carb is.
Yeah. So you're not counting calories, and you still, people act like that's a flaw. Like, oh, people are only doing keto because it's all calories in, calories out. Even if it is all calories in, calories out, I don't think it is 100%, but let's say it is.
Yeah.
On keto, you're going to naturally lower your calories.
Well, and there's actually been studies to show this, Brandon. Dr. Jeff Follick, who's very famous in the ketogenic research world, he actually did a study where they put one group on a low-fat, high carb diet that was calorie restricted to 1,600 calories. And then they said the other group was low carb, high fat ketogenic diet, but they didn't restrict their calories. So they wanted to see what the weight loss and health changes difference would be. And when the study was finished, they looked at the calories and it was exactly the same as the low fat end. They just naturally kept it right around kind of a 1,600 calories, and they had better outcomes in their health and weight loss.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. And even if you just lower your calories, that's cool. You could do that, and that will work. That would be fine. But you're going to feel like you're dieting.
To me, that's dieting. I'm so over the first three letters of that word. You die. You die when you diet. And it's like, I'd rather live. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, man. I'm living, man. So it feels better for me when I'm really trying to cut. Like we had the expo, for the Olympia, and we had the expo. My supplement company, Bro Labs, we had a booth, and I was there. You know, I had my shirt off all day, right, taking pictures of people and fans. Of course
you did.
Yeah, come on, you know I did. I'm looking for any flimsy excuse to rip my shirt off in public.
Absolutely, you and Drew Manning both.
Yeah, we are. But it's I went into a deficit, like a pretty steep deficit. Like I was tracking, it just, I felt better though. It's like, it's the first time I had energy on that kind of deficit. Yes. And I usually do, before like an event like that, I usually do like a lot of crazy dehydration stuff. Right. Like I would, you know, just get really like get the water weight off. So I would, like, in the past, I would soak in, you know, make a bath as hot as I could make it, put a thing of Epsom salt in, soak it the night before for like 10, 15 minutes, and do the same thing in the morning. Right. And I would feel like crap after I did that, but I'd be shredded. Right. I didn't have to do that this time. I was like, because the carbs keep your water weight off.
There's no water on you because people don't realize the water weight is on you because that's where all the sugar, all the glycogen stores are is in the water in your muscles. Well, when you eat a ketogenic diet, that's why you got to pee a lot and why you drink a lot when you first start a ketogenic diet, is because you're dumping those glycogen stores left and right.
Yeah. Now, what about what about, I've been able to put on muscle on a ketogenic diet without carbs, not even cyclical. But I will say it's slower. It seems to be slower for me, but then I don't know, right? I don't know. It seems slower, but then you got to remember, if I'm bulking with carbs, I'll put on more fat. See, when I bulk on keto, I basically don't have to do a big cut after it. But when I bulk on carbs, I have to do a cut. And then when I do that cut, I lose some muscle. So I think I end up exactly the same place I would. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not
so
really slower.
There was actually a research paper from this guy named Anssi Meninen, and he looked at a low-carb ketogenic diet, and he actually concluded after doing this research that a ketogenic diet actually preserves muscle mass, because everybody's worried, well, if you don't eat the carbs, you don't get the insulin boost post-workout to be able to build the muscle, how do you build the muscle? And he's like, you don't lose muscle. And actually, when I tested ketosis back in 2012, I put this in my book, Keto Clarity, but when I tested it, I actually did a DEXA scan so I could see actual muscle building. Now, I'm not hardcore like you are, but I did muscle building.
One is, Jimmy. That's okay. Don't feel bad. I'm like,
oh, I don't feel bad. I'm just saying I'm not like you. But I did a DEXA scan, which measured fat loss and muscle and all that stuff. So I actually lost both muscle and fat with the DEXA simultaneously. So it is possible to do that. And I think it freaks people out. And you made a really good point a moment ago.
You lost muscle?
No, I gained muscle. I'm sorry. I gained muscle. I
was like, whoa,
I gained muscle.
Good.
I gained muscle and I lost weight.
I almost went to the store and grabbed a loaf of bread. Man, you scared the hell out of me.
Eat this, brother. Eat this. So I think, you made a really good point a while ago, Brandon, about how when you ate carbs, you could bulk up and get really strong, but then you'd have to lean out. And when you leaned out in the effort to lose the fat, you actually lost some muscle. So that's a great point, because when you're putting on muscle and you don't have a lot of fat in the way, you don't notice it as much. I want to ask you a question. Do you see that your strength gains get better while you're keto? Have you noticed that at all? Is it slower?
I think initially the strength went down. I think during the adaptation phase, like when I was getting adapted,
like 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. Something like, it was only like 2 weeks for me, because you gotta remember I did intermittent fasting for almost 4 years before that, like every day consecutively. So I think it was easier for me to adapt, and we could talk about that too, right? Like, cause sometimes I use them both together, keto in conjunction with intermittent fasting when I'm cutting. Now, when I'm bulking, I won't eat enough. I just won't get enough. I won't be able to get the calories.
You can't fast, yeah.
I won't be able to get the calories I need.
That's right.
To your point, now, man, I'm stronger, man. I'm stronger now, man. I'm stronger now. I'm stronger, awesome. and I'm put on more muscle. And a lot of times, guys think, you know what? Here's the thing. A lot of guys think they're putting on muscle when they're bulking, but they really their muscles just getting filled with glycogen, right? And they're putting on some water, which makes them like actual mass, and some fat, right? They think they're getting bigger than they are, and they spaz out when they go on a cut, because they immediately lose the water, and they immediately lose a lot of the glycogen. And they look flat, and they feel like, oh man, I lost my muscle. No, you just lost like the other stuff, right? And people say that you get flat without carbs. I don't feel flat. I feel like, I don't know. I think when I upped my salt intake, Jason told me this, up my salt intake, I stopped feeling flat.
And see, this is a key. When you go keto, you got to up your salt, you got to up your water, You've got to up kind of potassium and magnesium, basically all your electrolytes. Those are so critical. And of course, this is one of the criticisms of keto is, oh, well, why do you have to replace these things? Well, keep in mind, you've been inundating your body with this foreign substance known as carbohydrates that it didn't know what to do with it. So it was having to like excrete all these things just to make your body deal with it. Well, now you're not putting the crap in there anymore. By the way, I call that crappy garbage, by the way. So eliminate the garbage and give your body good, real whole foods, meats, vegetables, and butter, and you're good to go. And your body then makes this transitionary period where you add in the more salt, you add in the more water and the potassium and the magnesium, and you're gold.
Yeah, I put a little sea salt in my water. It actually tastes better. It's easier for me to drink the water.
Have you watched this film? There was a couple of movies that came out called Serial Killers. Have you seen that? And so one was called Serial Killers. Serial, C-E-R-E-A-L.
Right, I see
but the sequel was called Serial Killers 2, Run on Fat. And so it was this couple that did a rowboat across the Pacific Ocean from LA to Hawaii.
No way.
Just on water, salt, and ketogenic foods.
Really?
You gotta go find that, man. It was really awesome. But yeah, all of their water was just loaded with salt. So that they would have that. And people devalue salt. Again, it's like saturated fat. It's been so demonized, people have pushed back on it, but it's the very thing in their diet. It might be why they're hungry. And they're probably not hungry. They're actually, their body's giving them some kind of a signal, feed me, because it needs the salt, not necessarily whatever food you want to eat.
I see what you're saying. I see. That makes total sense. Like a lot of times when people go through the keto flu, they really just need to up their salt. And that's like, they'll feel better almost instantly. When
9 times out of 10, it's salt.
It's just a salt, man. Like
salt and water.
Yeah, man. That's all you got. I mean, like add more salt. And I like hot sauce, right? So it's pretty easy.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
You put hot sauce on your eggs, don't you?
Yeah, hell yeah. What else you put on them, Jimmy? What do you put? Ketchup on them?
I just eat them with cheese. I'm good. And avocado.
I got you. I guess that's
maybe sour cream if I had to put a condiment on there.
Okay. So there's nothing, so carbs. I mean, so with keto, I think another misconception is that you're not going to get any vegetables, or you can't get, or you just all meat and the meat's going to kill you. Here's the thing. I know I eat way more green vegetables now on keto and way less meat than I did before, right? Because you have to keep your protein under 20%.
Well, think about it. You don't eat crap anymore. So you're not having the chips, you're not having the snack cakes, you're not having all this junk. You kind of need a filler in your diet, and vegetables are a perfect filler, especially green leafy and non-starchy ones. And I mentioned earlier, my total carbs is around 30. So you can get to 30 grams of carbs pretty easily with vegetables, and I do. And so, yeah. I mean, it's more vegetables than I've ever eaten in my life.
Right. So I eat way more carbs than that via vegetables and salads. But when I test, I'm still in ketosis. Now here's the thing: it's not net carbs, Jimmy. Like carbs minus fiber. Why not net? Why don't you measure it?
That's a great question. And so, and we wrote about this in my book Keto Clarity, which I have a copy back here I can show on camera.
I got a copy in my home.
Always ready, brother. Always ready.
Get that.
So yeah, the reason not net carbs is you've got to be intellectually honest about what your tolerance level is, because yes, fiber is a different kind of carb than other carbs. It's not a sugar carb, but eventually it still turns to sugar in the body. So you have to still count it, even though it's a slower response, it still responds in the body, especially for people like myself and the people that follow my work are pretty insulin resistant. And so we have to be very careful about overdoing it. I think the danger that comes into play is people think it's a freebie. So then they have a free for all, and then they wonder, why am I having blood sugar dysregulation and insulin still going sky high and I'm gaining 5 pounds a week? And I mean, that's not the norm, obviously. That's not what made them fat, but because of their broken metabolism, it just keeps the problem worse.
And a lot of companies are like trying to take advantage of this net carb thing. I see it. I don't trust them. I feel like they're just making crap and adding fiber and saying it's net carbs.
I call them out, man. I call those companies out all day long. I'm saying you're bullshitting people is what you're doing.
Yeah. Hey man, Quest bars, what's up? Good or bad? Let's go.
Quest bars, the ones that have the high protein content, not such a good fan because they're 27 grams of carbohydrate and was it 20 grams of protein and like 1 gram of fat. Now they do have one that's a Quest Hero bar. I did see those have more fat. I encourage them to make a higher fat bar. And so I think that's why they created Quest Hero. And I actually have tested my ketones and blood sugar after eating one of those, and it was okay.
Okay.
So it's a mixed bag. Just don't get the original ones if you're trying to be ketogenic. And if you have the Quest Hero bar, make it like no more than once a week.
All right, Quest, you get a pass on this one. We were about to get you.
But don't get me started on Atkins, man.
Oh, what
those Atkins bars are crap and a half, man.
Let's get them, man. Let's get them.
So they actually lost their way. I was actually at a conference a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago now, called Low Carb Vail, and there was a representative there from the Atkins company, and they were one of the sponsors. And of course, the organizers of the event didn't know I was going to do this. And I called her out and I said, "Hey, look, it looks like a lot of your products are very high in total carbohydrates, very high in protein, and very little fat. How can you call yourself low carb and catering to the low carb market?" And she's like, "Well, our demographics show people want more fiber and they want more protein, so therefore that's what we're putting in the product." I'm like, "You didn't answer my question. It's not low carb. It's not ketogenic." And so, you know, we got to hold these companies responsible. Now, there's great companies out there popping up with keto kind of becoming really popular here in 2017. There's some good ones. You
think I'm responsible for that? You think I'm responsible? You think it's me? I like to believe it's me. I like to believe I've made it so popular.
It's all your fault, Brandon. Yes. It had nothing to do with Jimmy Moore talking about it.
Well, listen, you got me on it. You were one of the first that I had the seed in my head, Jimmy.
There you go. There you go. But it is popular, man. It's surpassed paleo now, which was a huge deal just a couple of years ago. And it's still a big deal. I still like the paleo people, but keto as a concept is a little more concrete than paleo. Paleo kind of lost its way because it never got defined beyond eat real food. It was always, well, this version of paleo will do this and this, and nobody really knew what paleo was. There's no doubting what keto is.
Yeah. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear
cut.
Here's a company. Now, full disclosure, I consult. I do like a little consulting with the CEO. But you seen these keto brownies?
Who's the company?
Oh man, this is it. This is the only thing he's got. This is a startup.
Keto brownie.
Yeah,
I have not seen that. You got to hook me up, man.
I got you, man. I got you. We're talking to Dom D'Agostino.
Dom's company is doing it.
No, it's not Dom's, but
okay.
Joe Rogan said he really liked it, and then
good.
I called the owner and I was like, "Yo, you just got a shout out on Joe Rogan." He was
there. You go.
You know, but
he also shouted out about Keto Cookie on Joe Rogan and a couple of other really good products. There's some good ones out there doing good things. I definitely want to hear more about that keto brownie company.
Yeah, I got you, man. I do. Man, we're gonna send you a bunch because, like me, you know, I'm helping the CEO with their marketing. Man, they need to get it. First of all, getting rid of this ugly packaging.
That's my audience, man. That's my audience, man. So let me help.
Yeah, we got you, man. We got you. But yo, what other supplements do you like? Is exogenous ketones? What's your take?
Yeah, so exogenous ketones, it's a love-hate relationship. I talked to Dom D'Agostino 5 years ago, and he was telling me about this exogenous ketones for the Navy SEALs and how it's going to help them, you know, stay sharp when they're on the field. Which I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible. But what are you talking about? Were they drinking ketone? What is that? And he's like, oh yeah, we're going to actually put beta hydroxybutyrate into a salt form. And we have to like make the formulation so it tastes good, but they'll be able to drink it and get ketones in the body right away. And I thought, man, that is incredible technology. Well, what happened was when they introduced it to the market, you had these multi-level marketing type companies get involved. And
I know what you're talking about.
There's scams, and I'm not saying their word, but they're a bunch of lying liars that lie they suck. But the good news is because EKs have been out there for a couple of years now. Companies have popped up like Perfect Keto is a really good company. There's this new one called Keto Logic. My company, Keto Living, is actually working on an EK as well. So there's a lot of different ones that are making it retail. So you don't have to get, you know, caught up in a pyramid scheme and all this kind of stuff. I hate that you had to do that and pay $6.
So it wasn't the product; it was the way they deliver it in.
That's right. And see the marketing of it as well, Brandon. They were like, drink this and you'll get into ketosis in 59 minutes or less. And Mr. Keto here was going, no, you won't.
Bro, no, that's not the same shit, you know?
You'll raise your ketones, but you won't be in ketosis, I promise you.
So what are some of the advantages? Because, you know, I have a supplement company, did some of ours, and we, you know, I've been full keto for a year, and, you know, we have an MCT coming out, powder MCT, you know, we ripped off the Quest one, all right?
Of course.
Like same shit. We just got, not really, we just do it too, right?
Everybody's doing it, yep.
Everyone's doing it, because I like the powder. The powder doesn't,
you can mix in a smoothie, and yeah.
The Quest MCT powder is like my favorite source of MCTs, you know, like, and so we tried to replicate that. And I think we did a good job of coming out, but we were thinking about exogenous ketones, but I just haven't had the same amount of experience. Now, when I talked to Dom D'Agostino, he said, mix it with MCT and you should feel an effect.
Yes.
Until then, I didn't feel an effect. So I mixed exogenous ketones. I got the Ketokana,
yeah.
Ketokana, mixed it with the Quest MCT powder in my pre-workout, and I felt like God.
And that's the perfect time to do it. You were asking, you know, where would you use these? Pre-workout, it's an incredible energy booster. I would even say fasted and then have some of the EKs and then do the workout.
Fasted. Oh, no, it's got to be fasted.
Yes.
That's what I didn't know. I was taking it like during my day, but if you take it's like take it fasted.
Yes.
I would imagine it breaks your fast, right? But
not really. It depends on which one you use. I mean, there's so minimal calories. There's some that are only like 50 calories. If you get these ones that have heavy MCTs, obviously it's going to be several hundred calories. But take it kind of on a fasted state. You'll be surprised. But, you know, sometimes I'll wake up and I didn't have a good night's sleep, Brandon, and I'll have some EKs before I do a podcast, and it just gets the brain going.
Bro,
because
I have some before.
Sometimes.
I actually had some before this.
There you go. I didn't because I felt good today, but I would normally.
I'm an extremist, man. I feel good. I did anyway. Listen, with sleep though. Let's talk. Here's the weirdest thing. I feel like I don't need as much sleep on.
You don't.
I have more. Why is that? I feel like so much more energetic.
So Dr. Kirk Parsley is a sleep expert, and I did a interview with him on the Live and La Vida Low Carb show many years ago, and I recently re-aired that podcast, and he mentioned that he used to get, and he's a former Navy SEAL, he used to get 7.5 hours of sleep. Now he only needs 6.5 hours of sleep, and part of the issue is you're not having to go through as much repair. Think about when you're a carb eater, how much you're damaging your body, you know, throughout the night. Now you're not damaging it anymore. You're able to recover from that, and you're able to have less sleep and feel better with that less sleep. It's pretty amazing. Hello. It's frozen. Such a serious look.
Yo, Jimmy.
Back. What's up, man?
I'm back. Yo, man, listen, I don't know what happened.
It was so funny. I took a screenshot of what you look like when it froze. I'm going to send it to you because it's hilarious.
Please. Last thing I heard was sleep doctor.
Yes. Okay. So I interviewed this sleep doctor named Dr. Kirk Parsley, and I had him on the Live and La Vida Low Carb show many years ago, and recently re-aired that old interview. And he used to get probably 7.5 hours of sleep before he went keto. And then he went ketogenic, and he found he only needed 6.5 hours of sleep. And so he surmises that because you're not filling your body with all of this stuff that's making your body have to repair. In other words, when you go keto, you're not damaging the body like you are with your carbs. And so
you know,
the repair
mechanism,
exactly. The repair mechanism happens a lot quicker. So you get away with an hour less sleep and you feel just as, if not more rested than you did before on that 7.5 hours.
You just don't need it. You just don't need it. Yeah. Like I can't, like if I say, oh, I'm sleeping today, I just wake up.
And you know what's happened to me, Brandon? I've noticed that since I've been keto for the past few years, I have circadian rhythms on. I mean, they're just spot on. Like I'll go to sleep around 10 o'clock and I'm wide awake at 6 o'clock the next morning, like clockwork every single day. And it's like, I haven't set an alarm in forever. I don't have to, unless we got like a 4 a.m. flight or something. But even then, my body kind of senses, oh, it's time to get up. And I never have to use any alarms. It's pretty amazing. Even when we go like on a West Coast trip, I live on the East Coast like you do. You go to West Coast, I'm still waking up at that circadian rhythm time. I'm like, you're killing me.
You in Florida?
What's that?
You in Florida?
So I live in South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Okay, that's
Yep.
my fault. I don't know why I thought you were in Florida. Oh, you know what?
I grew up in Florida. I was in Pensacola, Florida as a kid.
Got it. Jimmy, how come I don't need as much protein? I've been getting about 1.7 grams of protein per every pound of pound of lean body mass.
Yeah.
I told my whole life, I told everyone that I trained to get 1 gram, right? But because of the keto macro, I was trying to keep it 20%, right? I was like, all right, 0.7 is about right for lean body mass. How come I'm still able to put on muscle, Jimmy? I hypothesize why, but I want to know. I want your take.
I'm curious what your hypothesis is now.
Okay, because ketones are anti-catabolic, and I think a lot of that protein that you were consuming was used to actually spare the muscle, like to keep the muscle as opposed to grow it. And if your body's doesn't need to allocate those amino acids to keep it in the muscle, it all goes to building it.
And here's the other thing, Brandon. We talked about this also in Keto Clarity. The protein actually gets recycled. So when you eat protein, let's say you eat 110 grams of protein, that 110 grams of protein is probably equivalent by the time it gets used again and again and again and again and again, is probably equivalent to like 170, 180 grams of protein. So people that eat 170, 180 grams thinking, oh, that's what I need, they're neglecting that the body will recycle old proteins again and again, especially when you're fasting. You talked about you intermittent fasted. When you're fasting, you actually release some of those old proteins. That's why you're able, when you're fasting, not to lose muscle, because it's those old proteins that are getting recycled, not the muscle protein, but the proteins that are just kind of junk in the body, and the body will use those efficiently.
See, here's the thing, Jimmy. I'm probably getting way more protein. I mean, way less. I'm eating way less meat now, eating more vegetables now. Why are the vegans all attacking me? Like, I'm eating less meat than your favorite bodybuilder and more vegetables, man.
Oh, I think you're eating the poison. You're eating the very poison they think is the scourge of society. That's why.
Got it. But like, it's like, I think that's just one of the misconceptions of keto. Like, you think it's all it. I might be guilty of that. Some of my Facebook ads, I kind of played up the eating bacon, I kind of went
I've
nuts.
done that with butter before, and I've gotten killed online about it. One time I did a joke and I stuck a big stick of butter on a plate, and I was like, and people are just going, "Oh my gosh, he's saying people should eat a stick of butter." No, you got to have fun in life.
Around, man. You're just kind of messing around. Like, maybe you should just stop being a spaz a little bit. Maybe you should just chill a little bit, man. Like, it's not that serious. Maybe get homemade Facebook video shouldn't affect your
but you know what? When you do what you and I do for a living, you're gonna get that kind of criticism.
Hey man, this heavy is the head which holds the crown, Jimmy.
There you go.
And it's a good thing we're keto, because now we can handle it. We can handle this kind of stress because we're on keto and our brains are running efficiently off the ketones. Hey, let me ask you a question. I tested my ketones almost every day for a year, Jimmy, and twice a day. And I used to get up to like 3. My levels were like 3. Like sometimes once it went up to 4, it was crazy.
Yep.
No dropping ketones. Now they stay I know what my macros are, and they stay at around 8.
Perfect. And, Point 8, you're saying.
0.8. Yeah. Why
Perfect.
Has it seemed like it goes down even though my macros are same? I have a hypothesis, but I want to know what
I'll go ahead and tell you on this one, because this is a pretty easy one. And I'll tell you, when I first started my ketogenic experiment in 2012, I was getting 4, 5, 6 even. I think my highest was 7.8 I got one time. So when you first start kind of converting over to using ketones as fuel, the body's like, ooh, what's this new thing? And so it actually is kind of a feeling out process. So the body is starting to use them, and they don't know how to use them yet. It's starting to build them up in the blood, but it doesn't know how to use them yet. So the more that it's in the body, they recognize it. Oh, that's fuel. So then it starts going, oh, wait, shoot some to the brain, shoot some down here, shoot some to the muscle, shoot. And so it starts distributing it evenly, so that over time, as you're building the ketones, you're using them efficiently, which is why you now see a 0.8. I usually see 1.0. That's about my normal.
Oh, really?
And it used to be 4, 5, 6. And so that's totally good.
6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 4, 5, 6. And I told you 7.8 was the highest I had at one time when I first started. I wasn't worried about that. That's nowhere near like ketoacidosis or anything. Yeah. But people freak out when they see it early on. But it's completely normal. And we talked about this in Keto Clarity as well, that you're going to have that period of time when you first go keto where the body's just getting used to, all right, what do I do with all these ketones? And then once it recognizes it as a fuel source and as a, send it to the brain, send it to the other parts of the body, then over time, it's like, okay, you make the ketones and it sends them out immediately. So when you prick your finger and you see it's 0.8, it's almost as if your body, you almost want a goal of 0.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. You're adapting. Now your body knows how to use it. I'm actually using it. It's not just floating around in my bloodstream. I'm using them.
So testing ketones early on when you first start, probably the first year like you did, where you were testing kind of morning and night, testing it for that period of time is probably good, but when you're out. Let's say right now, Brandon, you go and eat crap, you're going to feel it. And you're out, and you'll know when you're back in, several days later. So you don't really need to test as much anymore.
I don't test at all anymore. Yeah, because like I said, I measure and track so I can actually look at my macros, and I know I can
extrapolate.
I can tell you exactly what my ketone levels are based off my macros for the day.
The same way, just based on how I feel at any given moment. Like right now, I know I'm right around 1.2, 1.3. I should go run and get a meter real quick and do it.
Well, you know what? Because I took a ketone supplement before I was probably jacked up.
Oh, you're jacked.
I'm jacked up. But I can go. Like a lot of guys who are concerned about protein, I've tracked this enough that I can go up to 30% protein and stay in ketone. And is that because I work out more? Can you get more protein?
Yes. So yes. So the workout will mitigate the glucose effects of the excess protein and we haven't talked about this, but when you eat excess protein, the reason it's a problem is your body doesn't store protein. It can store carbs as sugar and glycogen. It can store fat because if it's eaten in excess, it can actually get stored, but protein cannot be stored. So it has to be converted into a usable source of energy. What's it converted to? It's converted to glucose, sugar. So it's this big long G word, again, in the book Keto Clarity, called gluconeogenesis. There will be a test at the end. So gluconeogenesis. And so when you eat protein beyond what your body needs, and remember, we talked about earlier, the protein cycles. And so recycles again and again, you don't need as much as you think. When you eat beyond what your body needs, the body's like, okay, we got this extra protein. We don't know what to do with it. Let's go ahead and shoot it to the liver to make glucose. Now, in your case, when you go work out, when it converts that excess protein into glucose, you're burning it all up with your hardcore lifts and all if you have a leg day, you're going to really burn through that glucose. You don't need it, but it's there for you and you'll burn right through it.
Got you. Cause like when it's at 30%, my ketone levels are like 0.5. Sometimes they go, okay. Let me ask you a question. Sometimes it's not like my macros are right, and it feels like every once in a while it feels like it's like my ketones are like 0.3, and I'm like, yo, my macros are right. But when I notice that most times, like after I've been training or after I eat.
Is it right after a workout that you test? All right, so there's a reason why that's happening. So when you're working out, you kind of have to wait about 2 hours after your workout before you test your blood sugar or your blood ketones. And this freaks people out too, Brandon, because they get home, they're ketogenic, they did a fasted workout, they prick their finger and it's 160 blood sugar. And whoa, what the, and they think they've done something bad and their blood ketones 0.1, 0.2. And I explain, you realize you just did a very glycolytically demanding workout. So what happens when you do glycolytically demanding workout? You release any kind of glycogen that's in the body whatsoever into the bloodstream. And so that's why you'll see that diminished. If you do it again, wait 2 hours, kind of rest post workout and test again. And don't be surprised that your ketones go up post workout from what they were before.
Yeah. Now if I don't test it anymore now because I got it, man. I like when I look at my macros, I know what it is. But when I did it, when I felt like I was getting more accurate, or when I did it like first thing in the morning or like kind of at night after like I was like before, not like before bed, but just like at night. Those seem like good times for me. All right, man. Listen, Jimmy. Brandon. What about the, okay, so there was a study came out, a bunch of YouTubers started flipping out. See, the ketogenic diet lowers testosterone levels. You know, here's the thing. I talked to Dr. Dom DXino about it. He said in some of his tests that he's seen testosterone triple.
Yes.
You know, like what's been your experience, or do you have any information about the people who are scared of their testosterone?
Oh yeah, they're scared of it, but it's unfounded. And a lot of those rumors kind of get started with the vegan community. Unfortunately, they've been spreading some epidemiological type of studies. I don't know which study you're referring to, but I'm pretty sure it's not a randomized control clinical trial, which is kind of the gold standard when you're looking at research. It's probably just looking at, well, we hypothesize that when you eat high fat, but then they never take into account, well, what if you eat low carb with that high fat? And so a lot of kind of convolutedness to it. Anecdotally, I'll tell you that most people that I talk to, men of a certain age, do pretty well raising their testosterone levels. Now, it's a real and present danger, actually. Obviously, as you get older, it's harder to raise them, but it does go up, especially with, like Dom said in his research and what he's seen, it can triple when you're in your 20s and 30s.
Without going into too much detail or saying something being inappropriate, I haven't had my testosterone tested on ketones, but I can tell it's up, if you know what I mean. And like almost to
Ladies, are you listening?
Almost to a detrimental extent.
You get those male tendencies kicking in hard, huh?
It's hard, you know. It's difficult to remember.
If you're weepy, that's not a good sign. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm good. So yeah, I mean, that just hasn't been my experience, you know. Yeah. And all right, okay. And what are some of the other things that you know, you've been in this game longer than me, man. I didn't know that people were going to spaz out like this. What else have you? What other common misconceptions that you've been hearing?
It's all the usual suspects about, well, you can't eat too much protein or it'll hurt your kidneys, and a lot of this is just people's ignorance. And part of the issue, Brandon, is the ignorance is kind of reinforced by the medical profession, by the dietitians, and everything that is taught by the USDA and their dietary guidelines, which still doesn't recognize the negative effects of carbohydrates in your health. And they still think it's about fat. So this is why podcasts like yours and mine and different people out here doing good work, trying to share the truth, that's where the difference is going to be made. That's where people are kind of going to get their heads on straight. You know, you listened to me several years ago, and then now you're off to the races, and now you're teaching people with your very influential voice that you have. So thank you for your work. Keep doing it, man, because there's a lot of people out there that are hungry literally for this information.
Oh, yo, man, listen, man, it's for some people, like it's the only thing that's really working, because they don't have the discipline it takes a lot more discipline. People think it's unsustainable. I think it takes more discipline to diet with carbs, because you're going to be hungry.
Yeah.
It takes significantly more difficult.
You got to keep eating.
Yeah. But no, people say it's restricted.
And I want people to stop eating and start fasting.
Start fasting. Okay, what's that book? That's the new joint, right?
So this is the one that came out 1 year ago. And yeah, it's my book with Dr. Jason Fung called The Complete Guide to Fasting. And it's literally about not just intermittent fasting, but maybe this kind of alternate day fasting where you eat every other day, which ends up being about a 36-hour fast every other day. And then extended fasting, which I've done 3 fasts of 21 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, over the past couple of years. Hadn't done a 21-day one in a while. I've had a mad, crazy, busy schedule this year. But yeah, fasting is such a great add-on to keto. Once you've kind of nailed keto and you've done keto for a while and you want to add something else to kind of like fine-tune that insulin and inflammation lowering effect, try fasting. And what's funny is when you go keto, and you've seen this probably, you find you don't really eat that often. You're not hungry enough to eat every 3 hours. You're lucky if you eat every 12 hours.
Bro, it's 4 p.m. here, and this is all I had to eat, man. Yeah. And I feel great. I feel like great. Like I really have to force myself to get these extra 3,600 calories for the rest of the day. Like it's gonna be, I have to force myself. So that's great.
People laughing at you, going, "Oh, poor you, have to eat another 3,600 calories."
It's just like I'm just not hungry.
But when you eat keto, that's hard to get that much. And there was this guy, Sam Feltham. He's a friend of mine over in the UK, and he did this experiment where he ate 5,000 calories. First, he did the standard American diet. Then he did a ketogenic diet, and the keto, he was just like you. He's like, "Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'm like going to throw up almonds here in a minute.
Yeah.
And then the last one was like McDougal's starch vegan diet. So he was having to eat like all these potatoes and 5,000 calories with no fat on them. Yeah.
Nah. What was his results?
And so his results were he actually lost like 1 pound on the keto, which is amazing because it was an overfeed study, and he lost 1 pound.
Yo, why did that? Okay, I want to talk. Okay,
and then the standard American diet, I think he gained something like 16 pounds in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then the McDougall diet, he actually gained like 13 pounds.
Whoa, but
eating
he lost
the
a pound on keto with the same.
He lost a pound with that overfeeding. Yep.
Oh, listen, Jason Whitrock, he did the same thing, man, and he did like 21 days of 4,000 calories. And I talked to him about this personally, and yo, man, he lost like almost like a whole percentage of body fat.
Yes. Yeah, that was the other thing that happened to Sam. He actually, you could visibly see in the 30 days that he did keto, even though he only lost 1 pound, he shredded.
Oh yeah, because you lose so much water weight. He
Yes.
only lost 1 pound of fat, but he lost he lost a ton of water weight, like immediately. That's one of the benefits. Immediately.
Yeah.
Yo, this is crazy. Jimmy, you know what? I had to stop intermittent fasting when I started keto because it seemed like it was too much to adjust to. And that's what I recommend everyone to do. Like me personally, I think you shouldn't be in a crazy deficit. I think there's some of the mistakes they make. They start at a crazy deficit. So they have to adjust to that. Then they want to do intermittent fasting. They have to adjust to that. Then they're trying to adjust to keto too. I think it's too much. I'd rather you be at maintenance or surplus when you first go into keto. And then start adding stuff. What's your take?
Well, what you'll find is you'll naturally fall into an intermittent fast. So let's say you eat your last meal of the day at 6 the night before. You wake up the next morning, I'm okay. Cup of coffee, out the door. About noon, you have your meal. Well, guess what? You just fasted for 18 hours, and all you did was skip one meal. But it happens so naturally because you weren't hungry. Now, to your point, make sure you get adequate calories in the meals that you do eat. And we actually mentioned this in the Complete Guide to Fasting, that when you love that gratuitous plug.
Yeah, no, I like it, man. You know, like I'm learning, man. I mean, I got my supplements behind me, man. Like I ain't accident.
I see them. They're very well positioned.
I'm on the
I've got my books back there on my shelf, and there's Keto Clarity back there. So
couple of St. Cloud. Yeah.
There you go. So, actually in the Complete Guide to Fasting, we talked about when you eat just a little bit and you're hypocaloric, it's actually much worse to do that because you'll slow down your metabolism compared to if you didn't eat anything at all. In other words, a full fast, because some people are like, well, just eat a little bit. Well, when you eat a little bit, your body thinks, oh, I'm feeding. And so it expects feeding. And when you don't do it, then your body's like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And it holds on to every bit of food that you've given it without causing any fat loss. So don't eat a little, eat nothing before you eat just a little.
Yeah.
Or
don't
eat
snack,
adequate amounts. That's right.
Yeah. All right, man. Yo, this has been really
You're always fun to talk to, Brandon.
Hey, man, Jimmy, man, same here, man. We got to do this more often, man. I'm down to come on your podcast, man.
Hey, do it, man. We'll book it for 2018.
Hey, listen, is it rude to ask someone to be on their podcast?
Hey,
I don't know.
You got mad skills. I'm bringing you on, man. Let's do it.
Oh, thank you, man. Listen,
it's got to be shirtless though, so that the girls all go, woo. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on, man. It's going to be shirtless unless you tell me not to.
It's audio, so it doesn't matter.
They can feel it though, Jimmy.
There you go. They feel it.
It's like it's conveyed. It's like when
Drew Manning, y'all like doing the shirtless podcasting, man.
Yeah, man.
You had Drew on your show?
I haven't had Drew on yet.
You know who he is,
but we have a lot of mutual friends.
Good.
So
we're
cool,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, man. We haven't even met yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
He's a tiny guy. I was like, I'm 6'3", so I was like, whoa, he's a little shorter than I thought he was. But it's all good. But he's got mad muscles like you, man.
Hey, man, he's a beast.
Beast.
But anyway, man, yo, thank you, Jimmy. What? Hey, man, did you have a book or something that someone did? Do you have a book or something?
I've heard of a few books out there. Let's see, Keto Clarity. And you mentioned Cholesterol Clarity. That's my first book with the publisher. And then I did a cookbook called the Ketogenic Cookbook. And then my latest is called The Complete Guide to Fasting. And here's the cool thing. I got 3 new books coming in the next year. So the Keto Cure is coming with Dr. Adam Nally. Thank you. So we're going to try to be a little more advanced than we did in Keto Clarity, which was by design supposed to be really basic. The Keto Cure is going to get real geeky and real nerdy. So people love that stuff. And then I'm doing a self-love book with Meg Dahl. She's a registered holistic nutritionist called Keto Freedom. And then I asked my publisher, I said, have I earned the right to do a rant book? And they're like, yeah. I said, I want to go off on the weight loss industry so bad. So weight loss, white lies, I'm getting them, man. I'll be contacting you for some inside information, man.
That's good, yo. That's a good name, weight loss, yo, man. Yeah, you know, I have my program Keto Hacks. You know,
yes,
KetoHacks.com. We got free information, but like, yeah, I mean, that was it. Your big inspiration for like. I just want to thank you because you were one of the first guys that helped me make sense of it. Like I was like these other guys, man. I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was just silly until I talked to you, right? I had an open mind, right? That's the thing. I had an open mind and I was willing to listen.
You were ready.
And then it made me start. I still wasn't ready to start there. And I was like, nah, it wasn't until I had that cholesterol scare. And then I don't know, man. I guess maybe because I'm older now, you know.
35 is so old.
I mean, but listen, the same diet I was on before in my 20s, my cholesterol was fine. In my 30s, they wanted to put me on statins. You know? So I was like,
that was a deal breaker.
Change it up, man. But I appreciate it, man. I feel better. I feel like my 35-year-old self would kick the ass of my 25-year-old self, and I really think it's key.
That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you, bro.
All right, man. Well, anyway, guys, make sure you follow Jimmy. He's got his podcast. Which podcast? I know you got a ton of podcasts. You got his keto.
The Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show is my flagship. It's the longest running health podcast on the internet. It's over 1,300 episodes and counting now. So pretty awesome to talk to everybody on that. And then Thursdays is Keto Talk with Jimmy Moore and Dr. Will Cole. So we answer questions, like everyday questions that people have about ketogenic diets. And then in the new year, I'm actually coming out with 2 new podcasts. I know I'm a crazy man. We're going to do a Monday show that'll be kind of an inspirational show called Keto Clarity Live. So me and this co-host, Melanie Miller, will start that. And then on Fridays, I hate being known as the keto guy. So I'm doing a podcast that I talk about everything but nutrition called One More Thing with Jimmy. And it's just going to be like, I own backyard chickens. So we'll do a whole episode just on what it's like having backyard chickens and how to do it. And that kind of thing. So,
all right, backyard chickens, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? That sounds real South Carolina, man. Yeah, I like it. That's
every day, man. Fresh eggs.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm ever down there, man, I need some of those fresh eggs.
Oh, done and done, man. Done.
All right, guys, make sure you follow Jimmy on all 8 of his podcasts.
All 8 of his
podcasts. And really I urge you to check out Keto Clarity, man. It's a great book. All right, guys, take it easy.